Welcome to the part 3 of the tutorial on Quine-McCluskey minimization technique. Reduced prime implicant tables. In the part 1 of the tutorial on Quine-McCluskey minimization technique, we had already seen the procedure which included this as a step 6. But we have not come across any numericals wherein we require to form the reduced prime implicant table. So here we will try to solve a question where we will have to form the reduced prime implicant table. So what are the requirements that we need to ensure so that we get the reduced prime implicant table? So for a reduced prime implicant table, we need to find the reduced prime implicant which is analyzed for a dominant prime implicant. So for example, a prime implicant P1 is dominant over another prime implicant P2 when two cases are possible. The first case is P1 will contain all the minterms found in P2. The second one is the number of literals in P1 is less than or equal to the number of literals in P2. So coming to the procedure of the implementation purpose, the procedure remains similar to that of the Quine-McCluskey method. That is, you have the first 5 steps that have to be implemented, and after that you are going to obtain the reduced prime implicant table which is created by eliminating the minterms which are present in the essential prime implicant. So you are going to place a double star to represent a dominant prime implicant, and you are going to eliminate that particular prime implicant. Moreover, the reduced prime implicant tables will provide a systematic approach for finding the prime implicant terms which are necessary to fully cover the original equation by determining which terms can be absorbed by others. So with an example, let us try to solve and understand. So the question says we need to reduce the function q is equal to f of a comma b comma c comma d. Clearly it is a 4 variable function. So I am going to do the step 1 by grouping them based on the number of ones that are present. So I have the first group, second group with 2 ones, third group with 3 ones, and so on. Now I am going to compare the successive groups as to which of the terms can be deferred, and I am going to put a check mark just to ensure that I have marked all of them and all of them are considered so that none of them are essential prime implicants. So here in this case I know that the minterm 1 can be compared with minterm 3, a minterm 4 can be compared with minterm 5. Similarly, minterm 4 can be compared with minterm 6, and so on. So you are going to do step by step comparison of each and every group with each and every minterm. And the comparison has to be such a way that it should differ only by 1 bit. And the deferred position will have to be placed with a dash. So in the step 2, what we are going to do is we are going to further simplify the groups. So I have the group 1 having the minterms 1, 3 and the variables will be 0, 0, dash 1, 5, 1, 0, dash 0, 1, 4, 5, 0, 1, 0, dash and so on. I do not have enough space here, so I will continue with group 3 on the right hand side. So again I need to compare the successive groups and find out which are the ones which can be paired up and combined and eliminated. So here you need to be very careful because you need to compare even the dashes. So the dashes have to be tallied. So in a similar manner I am going to compare group 2 and group 3. And in the step 3 I can still have a reduced table wherein I have group 1 having 4 minterms and a group 2 having 4 minterms. Now I need to check in this case as to if there is a possibility of comparison between the two groups, and if there is a possibility of comparison between the two groups I am going to put a tick mark to the corresponding minterms. The remaining one is clearly a prime implicant. That means the ones which cannot be paired up, they are the prime implicants. So in the step 4 you yield only group 1 because almost all the minterms are covered in the step 3. So I have the prime implicant A bar D. Another prime implicant CD and another prime implicant AC. The last group, that is group 4, is giving me the essential prime implicant corresponding to B. So for the reduced prime implicant table I am writing the minterms corresponding to the prime implicants and the essential prime implicants. I am trying to figure out which are the corresponding decimal notations it's going to map to and highlight the one and come to a conclusion which are the essential prime implicants. So here you can see that the essential prime implicants are the one which appear with only one x in that particular decimal notation. So you have three essential prime implicants here. And the prime implicant that remains is CD, that is 3, 7, 11, 15. And the essential prime implicants have the min terms 1, 3, 5, 7, 4, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. And all of these min terms are already covered by CD. So that is why CD becomes a dominant prime implicant which can be eliminated. So our final result will consist of only A bar D plus B plus AC. So to better understand, let me consider another example wherein I will directly consider the prime implicant and the decimal notations of those prime implicants so that I can tell you the concept or make you understand the concept in a much better way. So here I am considering a 5 variable case and directly I am jumping to the step 5 of the 5 variable problem, because for a 5 variable problem the complexity increases. So here I'm directly writing the prime implicants and the decimal notations corresponding to those prime implicants. And also, because of solving that particular function, I know which are the essential prime implicants that I have obtained up till step 5. So I'm going to highlight that in this particular problem, and the remaining ones will become the prime implicants. So I have the essential prime implicants A bar, B, E, A bar C and B bar C. So the remaining 7 will be the prime implicants which will be available in the reduced prime implicant table. So what I'm going to do as a first step is that I'm going to write all the min terms which are covered by the essential prime implicants, and the min terms which are not covered by the essential prime implicants will be dotted down here. Along the row you have the prime implicants. Along the column you have the decimal notations which are not covered by the essential prime implicants, and you are going to put an X corresponding to the decimal notations which are available for the prime implicant. For example, A bar DE has 3, 7 and 15 which is already a part of EPI, whereas it has a min term 11 which is not a part of EPI. So that is why I am going to place an X corresponding to the prime implicant A bar DE. In a similar manner you have to do for the rest of the prime implicants. In continuation, the reduced prime implicant table, as you can clearly see, has the essential prime implicants which are denoted above. The decimal terms which are represented in the prime implicant table are the ones which are not contained in the essential prime implicant. So we are going to form a reduced prime implicant table which will consist of only prime implicants and the decimal notations corresponding to the prime implicant. So what we are going to do is we will start eliminating the rows and the columns. First we will identify which are the ones which are having a single x. So you can see that the prime implicants which are having a single x, the corresponding row or the prime implicant is marked as a dominant prime implicant with a double star, and the corresponding column has been blocked. And I am going to strike out the entire row, that is the dominant prime implicant, just to indicate that it has been eliminated. Now what I am going to do is, in a similar manner, I am going to now sketch the rows or the prime implicants which are having 2x. So you can see that the prime implicant corresponding to C bar DE is already cancelled in the column wise, or it is blocked, so I can directly strike it out. Then I have the prime implicant A bar BD, which consists of two x's corresponding to 10 and 11, and 11 is already blocked. So I can highlight the x corresponding to the decimal notation 10 and block the entire column and strike out the prime implicant and denote it as a dominant prime implicant by putting double x's. Next we have A B bar D prime implicant, and this also consists of two x's. One is already blocked, so we are going to highlight the x corresponding to the decimal notation 18, and I will block the entire column and highlight the prime implicant as a dominant prime implicant by putting a double x and strike out the min terms which are represented in decimal. So the entire column 18 has to be blocked. Entire column has to be blocked. I just missed out one x. So what remains here is that we have to eliminate all the dominant prime implicants which are highlighted with a double x. Though we already know that C bar DE is cancelled out, we shall still keep it because we have not highlighted it as a dominant prime implicant in this particular case. So I can have my reduced prime implicant table by removing the dominant prime implicants. So in that case, I will be retained with only 3 prime implicants and their corresponding decimal notations. In the second reduced prime implicant table, I will represent the prime implicants that were retained, that are the 3 prime implicants, their decimal notations, and I am going to represent all the decimal numbers corresponding to the 3 prime implicants and show their mapping. Now this table will decide which of these prime implicants has to be retained in the Boolean function. So I am going to put an X corresponding to the min term, whichever is available for that particular prime implicant, and I am going to circle the one which is present alone. So you can see that B C bar D has an X which is present alone. Similarly, we have A C bar D. So these two will form the essential prime implicants, and clearly we have seen in the previous table itself that C bar DE was eliminated. But since it was not marked as a dominant prime implicant, we try to keep it and move it further to the second reduced table. So when you compare the question that was mentioned, from the question we had already identified the essential prime implicants in the beginning. So there were 3 essential prime implicants, and along with those 3 essential prime implicants, we now have B C bar D plus A C bar D, which will form the final answer.